you know this this new Sonata effect, this Frosty Resolve. You know when we saw Carlotta freezing people? Do you reckon that could be something to do with that Sonata effect set, or do you think it was just literally down to Carlotta? That could potentially be something like a shield, like tide breaking, you know, like a wall breaking the tide. That makes sense. So that could be something like a shield. Havoc-based outro, I would think. Then yeah, Mamma Mia. I'm gonna say this freezes people. This gives you some sort of shield. This is some sort of outro buff for Havoc. I ain't got a clue what these two do. And there is 5 ones as well, isn't there? Like maybe they are a little bit more designed. Or see, like yeah, you think about it. We got what 5? We got 5 new characters. So does this so when we look at this, yeah, does this then just allude to the fact that Zany is a shield? Obviously, we know she's got a shield, but this just alludes to a kit being based around that, pretty much, yeah. If these Sonata sets are kind of designed in a way for the new characters, because they probably are, aren't they? You know, like I say, this is why I say they're probably not going to be a 1-for-1 swap for the characters you got now, because they're probably more designed. They probably will work with other characters, but they're probably designed a little bit more for the new characters, aren't they? So, like, you know, is this going to be the one for Rachia, the Midnight Veil? Because she looks like she does a lot of off-field stuff, doesn't she? So it would make sense for her to have something that deals with an outro when you think about it. Obviously, we've seen Carlotta freezing people, so it would make sense for her to have something that potentially freezes people. This would make sense for Zany, because we know she carries a shield. The only two that we really, then it's hard to say is like Empyrean Anthem and Eternal Radiance. Like, hear me out. All right, let you cook. Let's let him cook. Let's let him cook. What are you going to say? Imagine you have great substats on your forecast echoes, right? Think about the time you spent getting that forecast echo. Now it's flushed down the toilet for one that is better. Which, I understand what you're saying, but, like, it might not be a 1-for-1 trade is what I'm saying. Because the same echo now might have a different Sonata set. So it might not be, like, directly usable on the same character in the same way. So it might not necessarily be better. You know, it might be better for somebody else. But I get what you're saying. That then you've got somebody else who's got a forecast echo that's built up. You're going to, you know? In a way, though, I kind of like it because it's, well, I like it. I suppose, in a sense, it's got the potential to maybe power creep echoes, in a way. You know, it's adding, like, a potential creep to gear, isn't it? But if it's all free to get, I guess that doesn't matter. And it's just, it could potentially change up the way you play characters as well, couldn't it? That's the thing, what I find interesting, is I don't mind spending that on a new echo with a new Sonata set that could not only be better, but it might be equally as good, but works in a different way. So you get to play a character in a different way with maybe potentially a different team. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. But we need to know more about the Sonata sets, don't we? Really, because we've only seen the names of them. I think we have. Was it? Let me just have a look. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at Boog. But in theory, I get what you're saying. Like, if it's a like-for-like echo, you know, that the Sonata set itself is better for the character that you're using, you know, then I get it. But it's going to be, if it is better, it's going to be better in a different way, for one. And two, it might just not be better for that character. It might be, like, objectively a better echo, but not for the guy that you've got that comparable echo on there, if that makes sense. Where was he? Is it this one? Which is the one that had the, Is it this one? I think it was this one, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, just like, even if it's better, if you already have a good one, you'll be able to clear the content. Yeah, that's the point as well. Like, if the set you've got on a character is doing what it needs to do now, you're clearing all the content, you're doing Terror of Adversity, you're doing all the events and stuff. There's not really any need to change, is that? You can, like say, lock it and just slowly build it up over time if you want to, and then swap it out and see if it actually is better. You know what I mean? As I say, like, you know this this new Sonata effect, this frosty resolve. You know when we saw Carlotta freezing people? Do you reckon that could be something to do with that Sonata effect set, or do you think it was just literally down to Carlotta? Because I can't remember now. I can't remember if she was building up something with a Forte or Nexa or something that came with the freezes, or do you reckon it could be with a new Sonata set? I think it's probably connected to Carlotta, but it just made me think about it. You know, where before we was talking about afflictions. What that's a good way to potentially bring in, like, you know, affliction status effects or whatever via Sonata effects, isn't it? You know, a new Sonata effect, that the effect literally has dot damage in the Sonata effect, or has, you know, slowing or freezing in the Sonata effect, or has the ability to create AoE damage, or I don't know, proc freaking a blindness on an enemy or something like that. And I just really thought about that, actually. Just when I was looking at that frosty resolve, and I was just thinking, oh, actually, you know, Carlotta freezing people. Be interesting if that comes from a Sonata effect, or because I can't remember, man. In the video, was she using a lampy lumen? Where is it? Fuck me. IGN posts loads of videos. Jesus Christ. I think she was using a lampy lumen, wasn't she? Hard to say. She's not consuming anything to do that, is she? Or is she just from a weapon switch? I don't know. It's like what they see this little time. It's almost like what the fucking thing's called now. Because I can't remember. Do the Nightmare Echoes, are they like shinies? Do they look different? Hourglass. No, is he? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, an hourglass, isn't he? Yeah. But I had a smooth brain moment. Yes, Nightmare Echoes have a rainbow-like aura. Oh, okay. Okay, so I don't think that's a nightmare one, is he? I mean, that's just a standard one, yeah. That's just a standard one, right? Is that just a standard one? It was, wasn't he? Oh, wait. There she's using the new Echo, isn't she? Well, she's using one of the... She's using the new one now. The, It was a standard, yeah. What's that one called now? It's the Vault Protector thing, isn't it? The Montelli Vault Protector. I forgot what it's called. I like that. The fact that he looks like he's got a quick animation. Ah, okay. It's gotta be right. It's gotta be the Echo. Because look, it's the same fucking symbol, right? No, it's not. I thought it was the same. It's not. That's like a 4-pointed star with a 4-pointed star behind it, isn't it? Where that's like a... That's just like a 6-pointer, isn't it? The Sentry Construct, is that what it's called, yeah? New animation's totally different. Yeah, her animations are fire. Okay. I didn't even think about that before. Matches her skills. It does, doesn't he? I'm just trying to see when she consumes anything or uses anything though, when she's freezing people. I think that he's coming from for a forte though, isn't he? Okay, she intros it. Looks like she does glacial damage off her intro, right? Okay, so she got 6 stacks of whatever it is off what she did there. So was that off her E skill, was he? It's hard to say, man. New Sonata sect on the Middle East for shields. What, this tide-breaking courage? It sounds like it could potentially be something like that, doesn't it? Like, if I had to guess, just going off, like, you know, gaming stuff, I'd think this could potentially, if it's not to do with Carlotta, then it could be something like that. But it's like, if you had that on other characters, though, like, how would it work? Like, it's got to be off, like, obviously, with the way Sonata affects, is he, like, going off a skill? Is he going off a heavy? Like you say, that could potentially be something like a shield, like tide breaking, you know? Like a wall breaking the tide, that makes sense. So that could be something like a shield. Midnight Veil. I'm assuming this is like some sort of havoc. What do you reckon, though? Midnight Veil. Oh, what? I don't know with that one. It's kind of ambiguous because I'm thinking like the only thing I could think with a veil, but that'd be too similar to what the tie-breaking courage would be. Empyrean Anthem. Is it? Midnight Veil looks like an outro Sonata since its symbol is potentially. You reckon he could apply some sort of havoc-based status, havoc bonus, havoc damage? Interesting. Well, at least the icon is the same as Moonlit. Interesting. It is, isn't it? Okay. So it's yeah, man, you're probably right. Yeah, it's some sort of like havoc-based outro, I would think. Then, yeah. Make sure your deadline is before Kuro reveals what it means. Your mission is to find out what Kuro is planning and expose them before it's too late. So this is obviously spectral thing. Eternal Radiance. I wonder if this is in relation to something like with, you know, like Phoebe as well. Eternal Radiance. Like, again, man, this is making me think of, like, the stuff like with the Seraphim and stuff. The tie-breaking courage as well, you know, it's got the same, it's kind of a similar sort of symbol as well, isn't it, to the Frosty Resolve, actually. The Empyrean Anthem. I wonder if this is, like, something that, you know, with it being Anthem, I wonder if this can deal with, like, potentially maybe reduce enemies, whatever it's called, you know, the stagger bar. And there is 5 ones as well, isn't there? Like, maybe they are a little bit more designed for... See, like, yeah, you think about it, we got, what, 5? We got 5 new characters. So, does this... So, when we look at this, yeah, does this then just allude to the fact that Zany is a shield? Obviously, we know she's got a shield. But this just alludes to a kit being based around that pretty much, yeah. If these Sonata sets are kind of designed in a way for the new characters. Because they probably are, aren't they? You know? Like I say, this is why I say they're probably not going to be a one-for-one swap for the characters you got now, because they're probably more designed. They probably will work with other characters, but they're probably designed a little bit more for the new characters, aren't they? So, like, you know, is this going to be the one for Ruchia, the Midnight Veil? Because she looks like she does a lot of off-field stuff, doesn't she? So it would make sense for her to have something that deals with an outro when you think about it. Obviously, we've seen Carlotta freezing people, so it would make sense for her to have something that potentially freezes people. This would make sense for Zany, because we know she carries a shield. The only two that we like, really, then it's hard to say, is like Empyrean Anthem and Eternal Radiance. Like, for me, I think I'd go with Eternal Radiance being for Phoebe, because just because of what she is. She's definitely something linked to the Sentinel. If you go off the name of Phoebe and you go into Greek mythology, Phoebe was a Titan, I think now, if I remember correctly. And she was I think she was the third. She was one of the third, I forgot what they're called now. Oracles of Delphi, that communicated with the gods. You know? And then I'm thinking the Empyrean Anthem potentially for Brant. The only thing I'm thinking that for is Anthem, Performer, you know? Would make sense for a Performer to have something linked to Anthem. Because, like, I think, obviously, this looks like a Havoc thing anyway. And it looks like Ruchia is Havoc, isn't she? And, you know, we know she does, like, a lot of off-field stuff. So, like, with her being Havoc and, like, having this off-field element to her, it would make sense that she has something that deals with character swapping. You know, you seeing people, you're hitting them with a whirlwind, just switching out, you're getting some sort of potential Havoc buff. You know, making sense considering they use Rolvat and Cammy there, which obviously makes sense because it's probably giving some sort of Havoc buff. So yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, this is obviously going to work with Carlotta, this is going to work with Ruchia, this is going to work with Zany, this is going to work with Phoebe, and this is going to work with Brant. Now, I've got no fucking clue what these potentially could do. I'm going to say this freezes people, this gives you some sort of shield, this is some sort of outro buff for Havoc. I ain't got a fucking clue what these two do. Mamma mia!